What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the Bronx and Big Blue Breakdown. I'm your host, Brady Heslin, and today we have a few different things to talk about. We'll talk about the Giants' disappointing loss on Monday Night Football, talking about Joe Schoen's press conference that literally just ended about 15 minutes ago, and we'll be talking about Devin Williams signing with the New York Mets. So let's begin with the Giants game versus the Patriots. And the Giants have had a lot of frustrating losses this season. This one's definitely up there. I mean, I understand, it's a 2-10 team going against a 10-2 team, but I really thought the Giants had a chance in this game. The Patriots are banged up. They're overachieving. I mean, they have the easiest schedule in the league. And then with Will Campbell being out and then a few other injuries, Giants getting healthier, they got a Debo back. I really thought, and Jackson Dart, obviously, but I really thought they had a chance in this game, and then they just have a dud. It was really bad. It felt like the game was over after, the first quarter. They went down 17-0. But, we'll dive into it. Start with Jackson Dart. Obviously, he's the main reason that a lot of people are still even watching the Giants at this point. It was a fine game from Jackson Dart. Obviously, the big, takeaway for on the national stage is the big hit that he took on the sideline. That's a play, obviously, you want to go out of bounds. He doesn't, tries to get every yard, and gets blown up. I mean, he's rookie quarterback. You hope he learns that type of stuff. I think he will. But I think we kind of just got to live with the fact that that's just Jackson Dart's play style. He said that. It's super frustrating at the time, but kind of just who he is at this point. I mean, I don't really know what to really say, because obviously got to go out of bounds, but he has gotten better at that, in my opinion. He's sliding more, he's getting out of bounds more, even if it's not as much as he should. It was a clean hit. It was he's a runner, he's in bounds, gets blown up. It was clean hit. The Theo Johnson running over to defend his quarterback, I'm fine with that. It sucks he got a 15-yard penalty. I honestly wish he did more, because, he kind of just ran over and just, he didn't really do anything. The guy got away. If you're going to get a penalty, at least, shove the guy to the ground, put your forearm in his throat. It was kind of soft. Honestly, I thought JMS did more than Theo Johnson did on that. Other than that play, the 2-point conversion that he had was just phenomenal. There's not a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL that makes that play. He had a few kind of minor accuracy issues. There was one pass to Theo Johnson in particular. I believe it was a 4th down. He threw it a little high. There also were some drops. Theo Johnson had a drop in the end zone. But yeah, fine. He didn't light up the stats. He 17 for 24, 139 yards and a touchdown. And then he was 4 for 20 on the ground. I didn't really love the game plan. Excuse me, I'll get into that in a little bit. I just felt like, they run the ball a lot. And, I understand trying to establish the run game, and I understand you're not going to get, when you're on 17 or 23 or whatever it was, you're not going to get that all back on one drive. But, it's not like the Giants were just, running the ball down the Patriots' throat. And especially after Tracy got hurt, they're still just, it's the 4th quarter, 10 minutes to go, and they're, getting 1 or 2 yards on, inside runs. I just feel like you got to kind of start slinging it at some point. I don't know. Kind of looked like Jackson Dart was, I don't want to say, playing scared, but, I don't know. 17 completions for only 139 yards is not a lot. And I don't know, just wasn't super inspiring from the offense. I will say Devin Singletary looked better than Tyrone Tracy. He had 12 for 68 and a touchdown. Tracy was 10 for 36. It looked like there were a lot of times Tracy was hesitant to hit the hole, and he was kind of just dancing around at the line of scrimmage and would get no yards or a yard or lose a yard, where Singletary would kind of just see a hole and just hit it. Singletary also did have more carries than Tracy before Tracy got injured. We'll have to see if he has a serious injury, but kind of making me question what is Tyrone Tracy's role on this team going forward. with Scadaboo being back and the fact that he can't even like be better than Devin Singletary. So that's a bit alarming. Darius Slayton did look better. He only had 2 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown, but again, they didn't throw the ball a ton. He didn't have any like huge drops, which was nice. Had the nice touchdown. Wan'Dale Robinson 7 for 34. This is like vintage Wan'Dale Robinson. Like this was Wan'Dale Robinson from a year or two ago. Theo's 3 for 29. Hodgins 1 for 4. I mean, just wasn't a very good game throwing the football. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the offense. I mean, run blocking wasn't great. Pass blocking was fine. There were a couple plays where, like, Jamina Luminor, I saw him, like, get, like, just thrown to the ground on one play. JMS looked, he had the nice block on the Devin Singletary Wildcat touchdown. I remember that specifically, but other than that, don't remember anything too much. Defensively, just terrible. Completely awful. Gave up 30 points in the first quarter, first half, 17 in the first quarter, 13 in the second quarter. Abdul Carter is obviously a big headline, did not play at all in the first quarter, was benched presumably for missing more meetings. I think the lack of leadership on this team is really starting to show at this point in the season, and they actually asked Joe Schoen about that in his press conference, and he didn't really give much of an answer as like he did on many of his questions. But where's someone to put Abdul Carter in his place? I mean, where's Brian Burns? Where's Dexter Lawrence? Like, where are these guys telling him, making sure he's at these meetings, getting him at these meetings, that kind of thing. I'm not in the building, so I can't really say a lot, but it's just embarrassing. Abdul Carter should be embarrassed. I mean, second time in 3 weeks that he is not in to start a game because he was late to a meeting or a walkthrough or whatever it was. Brian Burns, kind of disappointing. He had an opportunity for a sack, and then Drew Phillips took out his legs. So there's that. Dexter Lawrence is just a nothing factor. I don't understand. If his elbow's that banged up, put him on IR and end the season. I'm done. Get Darius Alexander reps. I don't really care at this point. I mean, he's not doing anything. He looked a bit better last week, but I don't know if Garrett Bradbury, their starting center, he was at least sick. I'm not sure if he played. Yeah, so Garrett Bradbury played, but he was sick. And then along with that, the Will Campbell was out, which Dexter Lawrence isn't in the lineup against him, but their left guard was also out. I mean, this was a game Dexter Lawrence should have dominated. And I feel like I've said that 6 or 7 times, honestly, this season about Dexter Lawrence. I'm backup center, Dexter Lawrence should dominate this game, and he gets A pressure. Or, Dexter Lawrence should dominate this game. He's getting blown off the ball by backup centers on run plays. I just don't get it. If he's that hurt, don't play him. He's not helping the team. He had the most pass rush snaps of any defensive player yesterday and did nothing. So, really fed up about that. Guy that was a top 20 NFL player last season, this season is average at best. I don't know. I mean, he's better than that, but it's just his expectations are high and he's not living up to that. Paulson Adebo is terrible. He missed the last 5, was back last night, looked awful. I mean, just felt like Drake May could do whatever he wanted. He was 24 for 31, 282, and 2 touchdowns. Hunter Henry had 73 yards. I mean, they really just spread the ball around. I mean, Kayshon Boutte, 4 catches. Kyle Williams had a catch. Pop Douglas had 3 catches. Stephon Diggs, 3 catches. Matt Collins, 3 catches. And then Stevenson and Henderson combined for 6. So they really just spread the ball around. No one could really do anything. Cordell Flott gave up a touchdown. It was just bad. Bad. Bobby Okereke's not playing well. He had 1 nice tackle. Tyler Nubin got just thrown to the ground. I believe it was Roger Stevenson, but Stevenson stepped out, so that ended that play. But just the main thing, or I can't say the main thing, but one of the things I took away from this game especially was you couldn't really question the Giants' effort, this season because, they're still playing tough. They're losing close games. Like, they're getting these leads in the fourth quarter. This game, it just looked like they didn't really care, didn't have a lot of heart. It looked like they kind of were just done at halftime. Like, that kind of thing. And that's one of the big things I take away from this game is, are they going to lose the locker room? And, I'll talk about Mike Kafka a little bit after I talk about what was somehow the worst unit of the night. And again, I keep saying it, week 1, if you go back to one of my first episodes when I was previewing the Commanders game week 1, I emphasized special teams because it feels like every year there's a game where special teams loses the Giants the game. And, the Broncos game, that showed up. The 2 Jamie Gillen shanked punts a couple weeks ago, it showed up in that game. Now, this game, if the Giants have flawless special teams, do they win this game? No, they still don't win this game. But it was just terrible. I mean, start the game, they return the ball to, the Giants' 40. And then you have the punt return touchdown. You have the Younghoe Koo. I mean, what was that? Younghoe Koo just doesn't even kick. He says he just, what was his exact quote? Because I don't understand what happened there. Koo and Kafka blamed the hold, but, kick the ball. I don't care if the ball is, I don't care if Jamie Gillen caught the football and, dropped it on the ground. Kick the ball. Because that's better than taking a 13-yard sack from Jamie Gillen and him getting tackled by, 5 guys, getting blown up in the backfield. I don't... It's like a freaking golf... I mean, you don't even see that stuff on College Game Day. Yeah, he said, as I was driving to it, the bottom of the ball was slipping out, so I just pulled up on it. Dude, kick the ball. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I've seen a far worse holds, and guys still kick the ball. The ball's like this. If you're listening, I'm sorry. It was, wobbling a little bit like that. But Gillen stabilized it, and he just pulls up on it. And then Jamie Gillen's rolling out, looking for him to pass to. No one's running downfield. No one even tried. It was Younghoe Koo gave up on the play, or, pulled up on it, as he, pulled up on it or whatever, and no one was even, making an effort to, I don't know. It's just, I was saying Jamie Gillen should just pick the ball up and just punted it with his right foot, or, it's just a disaster. I mean, this is the stuff that would only happen to the New York Giants. I mean, would this happen to any other team? And then Gunnar Olszewski basically dies on the field and fumbles. The N on his helmet gets completely taken off. Somehow that wasn't a flag. I mean, it felt like there were not a lot of flags in this game. There really weren't. But that should have been a flag. I mean, my God. Dude got blown up. The Enna's helmet flies off. I mean, that's textbook helmet to helmet. And it was not called. And then, so after Gunnar gets hurt, they have Javon Holland, the starting safety, returning punts. Why? Why is Jalen Hyatt on the roster, healthy scratch, does not contribute in special teams? He has at least 3 wide receivers ahead of him on the depth chart. So he returned kicks 1 week, and that was it. I think that was to try and get him some trade value. So if he has no special teams role, no role on offense, he's just taking up a roster spot. When we have Amir Smith-Marset on the practice squad, who could come up and be the other returner. So you could have Gunnar Olszewski and Amir Smith-Marset returning kicks, which that's a really good duo. And then you could have Gunnar Olszewski return punts, and then Amir Smith-Marset can be the backup. And Amir Smith-Marset can also play receiver at a similar level to Jalen Hyatt because they are both awful. So why is he not on the roster? And you're risking your starting safety getting hurt on a punt return. We saw this a few years ago with Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson, starting Giants corner, was returning punts, got hurt. So now you're doing the same thing with Javon Holland. You're putting him out there, the starting safety, to punt, risking an injury. It makes no sense. And these are the little things I hate about Joe Schoen and this regime in general. Like, they don't take these little things serious. The kicker position, just little roster management moves. Like the time when they had 2 open roster spots and they didn't fill them, or the rolling with 2 running backs for like 4 weeks in a row. I mean, they're lucky that the Tyron Tracy injury happened this week and not a few weeks ago, because then they literally would have only had Devin Singletary. Now they at least have Eric Gray on the roster as well. But it's so bad. I mean, like, this is just embarrassing. Like, I'm sick of getting embarrassed on national television. And, like, I thought this game was winnable. I really did. And I have some Bills fans, that I'm, like, friends with. And I was telling them, I think the Giants are help you guys out. Like, I think they're going to win. Like, Patriots are banged up. Giants have been able to keep, some games close. Dart coming back. Bowen's gone. And they looked good on Primetime the last time they played there. And it was just such a dud game. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to even put into words. Like, it just, I was waiting, like I was so excited all day Monday. I was like, this team's 2-10. Like, why am I so invested in this game? Like, I was. And, like, because I'm a diehard fan. Like, I love the Giants. And I was super pumped up for this game. And I shouldn't have been. Like, why was I so excited to watch a 2-10 team against a 10-2 team? I don't know. Because I thought they had a shot. And that happens. Like, this team, it feels like whenever I get excited for a game, they're terrible. And then, like, last week with the Lions, like, oh, they have no shot. They're going to blow it out. And they take them to overtime. I just don't get it. I mean, I think I pretty much hit everything I need to say. Yeah. So, as I, end the recap of the game, I always have to say this. Joe Schoen is 20-43-1 as the Giants GM. Since their 7-2 start in 2022, the Giants are 13-41-1, and they are 5-25 in their last 30 games. Another thing I'll add is their last road win was week 6 of last season in Seattle. All right, so now let's move on to the Joe Schoen press conference. So if you guys did not know, Joe Schoen had a press conference. It was supposed to be at 1:45 today, or I should say Tuesday, if you're watching this at a later date. And it got pushed back to 2:15. Didn't actually start until about 2:20. So, yeah, I'm just looking through some different quotes here. Bobby Skinner from Giants Nation did a great job with, pulling some quotes. There wasn't a ton to take away. I felt like every time he was answered a question, he would just say, I understand the question. 5 wins last 2 years, 2 wins this season, not good enough. It starts with me, I'm just trying to support Kafka. He said that probably 5 times, my job, I'm just trying to support Kafka through these last 4 weeks, whatever. He did say Kafka is going to get a legit look at the job. I don't think that's totally true. I mean, he's kind of getting a look right now, but it's not going very well. Some other quotes here. I'm just trying to look. One thing Joe Schoen did say was that he's not going to make the same mistake twice, which that just flat out isn't true. And shout out Pat Leonard. He really was pressing Joe Schoen on this topic. Something about, there are pieces here. Why aren't we maximizing what we have? Nobody's perfect. A lot of decisions have went right. And not going to make the same mistake twice. Flagship franchise, great ownership, whatever. He got him to say something other than just not good enough. But as Bobby Skinner said here, he has made the same mistake twice. The kicker thing. I mean, I don't even want to get started on this topic again, but Graham Gano, he's hurt, he's bad, he's expensive. They don't cut him. They keep him this year. He gets hurt again. Something like that. Swing tackle problem. They don't really take that position serious. They pay James Hudson a bunch of money. He's terrible. Whatever. Jalen Hyatt, that whole thing I kind of talked about a little bit earlier, him just wasting a roster spot. You could say the same about Evan Neal. And then the returner issue. And it just goes on and on. Some other quotes here. I'm just scrolling through. Really, his only defense was that they have a quarterback, they have a left tackle, they have a wide receiver, good running back room, and pass rushers. So that's basically his young nucleus. If you've heard that thrown around, that's basically his argument. Um, he's stressed multiple times that Brian Dable being fired was ownership's decision, and that he thinks Brian Dable was a great football coach and wishes him the best, whatever. He also, for some reason, mentioned John Michael Schmitz, John Runyon, Theo Johnson, and the secondary as attractive pieces for a head coach. I mean, that's just not true. JMS is a below-average center. John Runyon's a 28, 29-year-old average left guard. He might even be 30 at this point. Theo Johnson, he's shown flashes, but he can't catch the football. And then the secondary sucks. Paulson Adebo looks like an overpay right now. Cordell Flott is improving, but he's also a free agent, so who knows if he's even going to be brought back. Drew Phillips is a roller coaster. Deontay Banks is awful. Corey Black is a practice squad level player. So that's just not, it's just a flawed argument. It's not true. Bobby Skinner mentioned how Joe Schoen was citing total offensive yards and points rankings instead of points per game and yards per game when they've played one more game than 28 teams in the NFL. So because the Giants have had their bye yet, they're higher up in rankings than they actually should be. He mentioned that Jackson was a guy that was on our radar very early in the scouting process before Brian Dable was aware of him, because someone asked about Jackson Dart basically being a Brian Dable guy, and and he kind of said how it was an organizational decision, first round rookie quarterback, that kind of thing. He said Jackson Dart's exceeded expectations. He kind of gave a non-answer when Pat Leonard asked him why Brian Dable was held accountable, but not Joe Schoen. The main thing was that he said ownership will evaluate the entire football operation at the end of the season. So by no means can we just say Joe Schoen is safe if they are going to evaluate the whole operation. I just don't understand how they can tell the fans that this guy's coming back. And the thing is, he's on a 5-year deal. Okay, he's on a 5-year deal. Next year's going to be his 5th year. I highly, highly, highly doubt that you're going to have a lame duck GM, a guy GMing on the last year of his deal. That just doesn't happen. So one thing that hasn't been talked about enough is if Joe Schoen's back, they're going to extend him. They're going to give him more than that 5th year. So it's just look at the record. I mean, the record says enough right there. 13-41-1 since the 7-2 start, and then 5-25 in the last 30. This team is bad. This is a bad roster. And the guy that constructed it should be fired. So that's about all. It was fairly short. There were some kind of not great questions as well. He danced around a lot of questions. I mean, that's kind of expected. That was about everything to take away from the Joe Schoen press conference. So now we will shift into Devin Williams signing with the New York Mets. So he signed a 3-year deal worth, I don't know, some things have said $48 million, some deferred. This says $51 million, so somewhere in that range. That is more than the Spotrac value that I had mentioned in a previous episode. If it is $51 million, that's $17 million a year. I'm okay with the Yankees not doing that. At the end of the day, he had a 4.79 ERA last season, and didn't look super comfortable in pinstripes. I would have been open to bringing him back, probably more just on a 1-year deal. So yeah, it is $51 million for Devin Williams. We'll see. I could definitely see him just becoming an absolute stud with the Mets. Yeah, I mean, they have his value at 5.7 million. I don't agree with that. I would have been okay with like a 1 year deal at like 12 million maybe. I mean, that's maybe 13-ish, or maybe a 2 year deal with like a club option or something like that, but I'm not going to lose sleep over it. But it just means the Yankees got to get aggressive. They got to get aggressive with the bullpen. That's another piece that is lost, a guy that can pitch late in games for you. So I would love to see them be aggressive at Edwin Diaz. Mets want to take Devin Williams. All right, we'll take Edwin Diaz. He's a lot better of a player, and the Mets are still interested in Edwin Diaz and still want to bring him back. So they're still in that race. But yeah, I would love for the Yankees to go out and get a guy like an Edwin Diaz. Ryan Helsley was also signed. He was a guy that I mentioned in a previous episode for a reliever. But let's take a look at some other relievers that are available here. Robert Suarez is available. Again, there's not a ton of there's Suarez and there's Diaz. There's not a ton of super late, inning guys. You got Sean Armstrong, Kenley Jansen, Tyler Rogers, Hobie Milner, Kirby Yates, and there's a lot of kind of middle relief guys. So they might have to make a trade. That kind of thing. There's an Evan Phillips, guy like that available, Gregory Soto. But they need arms. At the end, they need a lot of arms. On their roster right now, they do not have a lot of bullpen arms. If you look, I'm trying to see here if I can pull it up. I just pull up their payroll a little bit. That could probably tell me, but I think it's safe to say the bullpen was probably the Yankees' biggest weakness last year. And they lost Devin Williams, who statistically wasn't one of the better relievers, but talent-wise was one of their better relievers. So I'm trying to see if I can pull up the roster. Sorry. But yeah, so they have David Bednar, Jake Bird, Kervin Castro, Fernando Cruz, Yerry De Los Santos, Camilo Doval, Brent Hedrick, Tim Hill, Alan Winans, Ryan Yarbrough. This is not Javelin Sandridge. This is not a bullpen that is ready. Obviously they're going to bring in names, but they need 4 or 5 probably. They need a lot of relievers, and they don't have to get a high-end guy because they have Bednar. They have, I guess they have Doval, Hill. Those guys could probably get by. This is a team that wants to win the World Series. Go out and get an Edwin Diaz. That would be huge. Bednar in the 8th, Diaz in the 9th. That's a really locked down bullpen. So I'm not, again, oh, gotta sign Devin Williams. Oh, man, that sucks. It was a lot of money. Yankees weren't going to do it. 3-year deal is kind of a lot for Devin Williams. And if he is more like the player that we saw last year, not in years past, then it's definitely going to be a big overpay. But we'll see. If the Yankees don't do much in the bullpen this offseason, then we'll be more frustrated by them not pursuing this more. And then another thing, there's been weird Sonny Gray quotes with him going to the Red Sox and how he's oh, I'm happy to be in Boston because I never want to be in New York and whatever. I'm trying to find the exact quote. Talking Yanks posted it. Just weird. I don't know. I don't really. And then I guess Cam Schlittler, I think, chimed in or something like that. Here's the exact quote. He said, "I never wanted to go there in the first place. It feels good to me to go to a place where it's easy to hate the Yankees." But then when he was leaving the Yankees, he said he was happy to be there, and I couldn't be happier with how it all played out, and I couldn't be happier to be here today. I was going to be a Yankee. I just had a big smile on my face and was ready to get here. So, I don't know. I don't really care that much, honestly. Just go out and beat them. That's all I really have to say. Now we'll move on to the studs and duds section. The stud, it was honestly tough to find a stud from this game. Abdul Carter was probably one of the better players, so I'm not giving him a stud. I'm not doing it. show up to your meetings. The guy I'm going to give a stud to is Devin Singletary. So Devin Singletary was 12 for 68 and a touchdown. He actually looked like, he had some heart. He went in, returned some kicks. He also added 3 for 34 in the receiving game. So shout out Devin Singletary. He's exceeded my expectations this year. I thought he was kind of washed, I'm not going to lie. But, he hasn't looked bad this year when he's had to come in. So, Devin Singletary, you are my stud. And then I have 4 duds. I could have given a dud to the other 52 guys, plus the morons on the front office and coaching staff. But I summed it down to 4. Main guy's Joe Schoen. I'm just so done. I'm so done with Joe Schoen. If they retain this guy, I just don't get it. I don't understand the thought process behind retaining this guy. I really don't. Thought he should have been fired last year. Wasn't fired last year. Thought he should have been fired with Dable. Wasn't fired with Dable. And now it's just like waiting to the end of the season to see if they do fire Joe Schoen. I feel like I've said it. I feel like I've said everything I need to say on past episodes and in this episode, so I won't get too much into it. The next guy is Younghoe Koo. Maybe he doesn't fully deserve it. Maybe the ball was slipping out or whatever. But, you made national news for looking like an idiot. The thing that's crazy, too, is that it doesn't even count as a missed field goal because I guess he never actually kicked the ball, so it's not an attempt. It just goes in as a sack or a negative rush for Jamie Gillen. But that's just embarrassing. This team just can't get the kicker position right. Between Graham Gano, Graham Gano can't stay healthy. Jude McIntyre can't make kicks, and Younghoe Koo can't even kick the ball. So, I don't know. Maybe they go with Ben Sauls next week. They probably won't, unless Koo, misses some kicks next week or the following week in Washington. Then they might go to Sauls, but I don't even know. It was almost funny. I was basically laughing when I saw that because, only the New York Giants could do something like that. Mike Kafka, I didn't really like. I didn't really like the offensive game plan. He just doesn't scream head coach to me. Just his demeanor, the way he, just the little things head coaches have to do. As a pure football mind, I don't think he's ready yet, but I think he could get there. But just his, demeanor, how he talks to the press, his personality as a whole, he just doesn't scream head coach to me. I haven't seen him, talking to refs at all, on the sideline, these couple of weeks, that kind of thing. I don't know. He just doesn't look like a head coach, doesn't scream head coach to me. And overall, I didn't love the game plan for this week's game. So, Mike Kafka, you're a dud. The last dud is Dexter Lawrence. Figure it out, dude. I've said it already. If you're hurt, don't play. If your elbow's bugging you that bad, shut down now. Get some sort of surgery because it's the same elbow as last year. So, figure it out. Get some sort of surgery, rehab, therapy, whatever you need to do. You need to come back 100% next year. Because if Joe Schoen's back, he's going to be coaching for his job. He's going to need you. I feel like I'm going to have decent expectations for this team next year, especially, depending on the coaching staff and that kind of things. Dexter Lawrence needs to be 100% next year for this team to have success. So if you're really hurt, shut down. Give Darius Alexander, give some other younger guys some reps. Get the elbow taken care of and be ready for training camp next season. So Dexter Lawrence, you are a dud. Moving on to this week in history. I couldn't find anything for the Yankees, so I found one thing for the Giants. On November 26th, 1972, the Giants pulverized the Philadelphia Eagles 62-10 at Yankee Stadium. That's the most points the Giants have ever scored in a regular season game. So it's been a pretty gloom and doom episode. Figure I would, maybe bring out some better vibes on beating the Eagles by 52. What I would give to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, or even any football team, by 52, I would give up a lot. And now looking forward, so the Giants are now on their bye. They will not be playing next week. They have the last bye of the season for any team I believe the Patriots are also on bye, the Panthers are on bye, and there's one other team that's on bye that I can't think of right now. And also some news, I will be at the next Giants game, so I will be there when they play the Washington Commanders at home, 1 p.m. I will be in the stadium, have some posts probably from outside the stadium. Should be pretty fun. Bobby Skinner is also going in the football grump, so maybe I'll try and meet up with them. Get a picture, post it on the social medias. I'm not too sure what I'm going to do podcast-wise. I mean, if there's any like big news, I'll do an episode. If not, I might just take next week off. We'll see. I mean, like, who really wants to listen to me preview the 2-11 Giants against the 3-9? Or so at that point they'll either be 3-10 or 4-9 Washington Commanders. I mean, I don't think that's really worth anyone's time at this point. If there's some big Yankees news, I'll do an episode. If Joe Shane someone gets fired, which I don't think he will, if they fired him, it would have happened already. I'll obviously do an episode there, or any other news. I'll do something like that. So big things, just follow me on all my social medias: Instagram, X, TikTok, all that. Follow me on there. Wherever you're watching, leave a like, subscribe, follow, leave a review, all that kind of stuff. And I know the season's been tough. I'm not gonna lie, it's been kind of tough for me to do. I mean, like 7 straight losses. It feels like the last win was just so. I mean, the last win was the Eagles Thursday night game, and that just feels so long ago at this point. I mean, it's crazy. Kind of tough sitting down and trying to break down all these losing games. I mean, I really needed a win. I really wanted the Giants to win this game. I still want them to win. I want them, I'm going to root for this team no matter what. I know it might hurt the draft pick, but especially when I'm in the stadium, I'll be rooting for the team to win, and I really want to break down a win. So that's really all I got. If you like this, hit the like button, subscribe, follow. I told you guys do all that stuff. And until next time, let's go Yankees and let's go Giants.